Story 1. The printing press, no doubt. Being able to print information rather than having to hand copy it allowed information to be shared and spread vastly faster than before. This led to the development of all the science and technology that came after it, including the Industrial Revolution. Story 2. Vaccines have spared people immense grief by significantly reducing early childhood deaths. Story 3. I am going to go with written language itself. Without it, we could not pass down knowledge between generations effectively. Every discovery would basically die with the person who made it. It is like the foundation that made all other progress possible. Story 4. Electricity is not flashy like smartphones or space travel, but without it, none of the cool technologies exist. It is the ultimate invention that powers everything. Story 5. The scientific method. Most inventions and discoveries require it as a foundation. Random safety tip. You can still get a sunburn on a cloudy day or a freezing winter day. Use sunscreen to reduce your risk of skin cancer later in life. Story 6. The bow kept people fed for centuries, and in my opinion, it is a form of art. The feeling when you release the arrow and hear it strike the target in the distance is unmatched. Story 7. I asked a patient who was born in 1900 what she thought the best invention of her life was. She answered music, records, gramophones, and radio. The ability to listen to music whenever she wanted. I will never forget her answer. Story 8. Penicillin. Imagine having to worry about dying of blood poisoning every time you cut yourself. It still amazes me that World War I was fought before antibiotics were invented, as if the scale of suffering was not already immense enough. Story 9. Refrigeration and freezers. We have not had this technology for long, and most people take it entirely for granted. Story 10. The wheel. Modern life would not be possible without it. Look at how much has evolved from it. Tires, gears, cogs, bearings, axles. Basically, anything that rotates on an axis exists because of the wheel. Story 11. Pens. Being able to record information and sign documents on the go is great. It is relatively low-tech, durable, and reliable. It is deceptively simple. Story 12. The screw-cutting lathe improved human well-being significantly after it became available for use. Story 13. There is something smart here, but for me, music. At some point, someone probably hummed something or tapped a rhythm and changed the world forever. Story 14. Language is a set of agreed-upon sounds that consistently communicate ideas, rather than grunts and pointing. This was followed by writing. Story 15. The wheel. Nature has no perfect circles, and it would have required creative thinking by early Homo sapiens to understand the efficiency of placing a block of stone or a buffalo carcass on something with wheels. Story 16. Whoever came up with the idea to standardize things such as screws and bolts, it greatly facilitated countless other inventions. Story 17. Video calls allow people to interact with someone far away as if they were sitting together, which can feel very surreal at times. Story 18. The fork. You are able to eat without using your hands, which may be considered unclean. When you make a larger version called a pitchfork, you can easily move hay, straw, and many other materials. Given the size of the tool, you are able to defend yourself or go on the offensive. Story 19. The wheel is a fundamental technology. Most subsequent innovations relied on this basic concept. Pulleys, bearings, gears, and cogs all stem from this invention, which enabled people to maximize their labor. Story 20. Fire. Suddenly, witches could be burned instead of just drowned. Also, delicious pigs could be made into food. Story 21. Radio-controlled car technology. Being able to control something without standing next to it or using a long wire has greatly expanded exploration and construction. Story 22. The button is the kind you press on your keyboard, on your phone, when you turn on or off any appliance or activate a lighter. It makes complex, difficult, and time-consuming tasks so quick and trivial that you do not even notice or think about them anymore. Story 23. Watch the theft in the futures market. We will remember and take back all your ill-gotten gains and your ill-gotten booty as well. Story 24. Written language. Without it, There is no history, no science, no laws, no Shakespeare, no memes, nothing that outlives a single generation. Every other invention, from the wheel to the internet, exists only because humans could record and share knowledge across time. Story 25. It depends on how we define greatest. If we use it to mean the most significant, world-changing invention, aside from the printing press which wins easily, I would advocate for the birth control pill. It is almost impossible to overstate the effect the pill has had on the world, primarily the Western world at least directly, but indirectly every country and person. The world would be almost unimaginably different. Story 26. Certainly not sliced bread. Unsliced bread is usually much better. I would say the bow and arrow. Instead of one big spear which could hit or miss, you could hunt with multiple smaller projectiles that you could easily carry. Food became more readily available, and you could defeat bigger and stronger enemies for the first time. One of my ancestors invented the bow and arrow, but I am not sure I can claim any royalties since he probably has billions of other descendants by now. Story 27. The automobile. When driving to work takes 20 to 30 or more minutes, good luck without a vehicle. Story 28. In historic times, since written history, the transformer has allowed manipulating alternating current voltage up and down as needed. Electricity cannot really be called an invention, but more of a discovery, which is why I did not specify electricity. Story 29. Written language. Before then, the transmission of culture was mainly oral tradition. Writing allowed one generation to pass on its discoveries to the future, enabling technology to flourish and science to progress. Story 30. I can't narrow it down to just one. Aside from all the obvious benefits to humanity, I would say electric blankets, a good can opener for arthritic hands, I have one, and self-adhesive stamps and envelopes. Story 31. Wow. Not a single mention of the electric telegraph, the first time that information could be transmitted over huge distances instantaneously. Story 32. Will makes traveling easier. No more rolling logs in front of my heavy stone blocks. Story 33. Pockets in clothes. They may not have turned the world upside down, but in terms of sheer usefulness and how often they get used, nothing beats them. Story 34. The bicycle. In my country, it opened up genetics and culture because people married others from farther away. Teachers cycled 50 miles to teach a class. It replaced horses because you did not have to feed it. It was the equalizer. Story 35. Nuclear power. For the first time in human history, energy does not rely on combustion. It is a step beyond fire, the very thing anthropologists sometimes use to define what separates modern humans from pre-human ancestors. Story 36. The plow. Food production can be controlled and planned, so nutrition can be anticipated, measured, and commercialized in a positive way. Hello, modern society. Story 37. Toilet paper that does not have wooden splinters in it was not splinter-free in the United States of America until the late 1920s. Story 38. Agriculture. We stopped being hunter-gatherers and began to stay in one place and invent civilizations. Story 39. The plow made it possible for people to stay in one place and cultivate their food instead of being nomadic and traveling constantly to find food. Story 40. One invention facilitated all future inventions, along with all science, art, and literature. The printing press. Story 41. Global positioning system. You might not believe how much of our lives rely on it, not just for navigation and location, but also for precise timing, which is critical these days for financial transactions. It is one of the few things invented by the military that truly benefited civilians. Story 42. The Internet. Never before have we had such a way to communicate with each other instantaneously on so many platforms. It literally cannot be replicated. Try to create another way for computers and smartphones to transmit information to each other. Congratulations, you just made the internet again. Story 43. Language and writing are two sides of the same coin and easily the greatest invention ever. They enable all other inventions and their use. Story 44. Language and writing are essential. We would each have to start from scratch without them. Language allows us to learn from long-dead ancestors and improve on what they developed. Almost every other invention in history has been possible because of language. Story 45. 1. Will. 2. Printing press. 3. Integrated circuit. Fire and electricity are discoveries, not inventions. Money is by far the worst invention. Story 46. Control over fire, electricity, water, the wheel, light, glass, alarms, surgery, farming, and many more. Control and efficiency are very important. Story 47. The Internet. Despite all the negative aspects, there is still much more good than bad. It was also designed almost perfectly from the very first version. Story 48. You know the quote, "Any technology sufficiently advanced is indistinguishable from magic?" I still feel that way about satellite navigation. Story 49. The toilet. Every time I stand up and turn around, I marvel at the ability to press a button and remove almost all trace of my foul deed. Whoosh, gone. Seriously? The medical ones like the magnetic resonance imaging, defibrillator, cesarean section, all those wonderful things that make our lives a little better and a little longer to share with loved ones. Story 50. Sure, all the basics, but to me, modern in-home appliances are essential. With a refrigerator and freezer, I do not have to get food every day. I can go once a week or less and still have fresh, healthy food. With washing machines, I can launder all the items in my home regularly with probably less than 5 to 7 minutes of hands-on time, including folding and putting away. With the dishwasher, I can wash all the dishes from the day with about 5 minutes of actual hands-on time. Each of these jobs used to require a whole person to take care of them, and honestly, they probably did not do it as well as the machine. You will pry my modern in-home appliances from my cold, dead hand. Story 51. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, or FDIC, was established to prevent bank runs, which were a devastating phenomenon before its existence. The FDIC is funded through bank premiums, so the cost to taxpayers is minimal. It is hard to imagine a world without it. Story 52. Washing machine. I cannot imagine doing all the laundry by hand. All mothers and fathers. Can I get a hell yeah? Story 53. Vaccines have significantly reduced the death rate. Before their development, many people suffered from poor sanitation and lack of proper toilets. Story 54. Society and organized government. Without structure, existence means nothing. Chaos, death, and despair. Reading and written word. This is how we assemble history and our purpose in life. This is the only way to fully understand the past and how to make it better going forward. If we don't respect history, we are destined to repeat it. We go through a series of reboots and resets of our emotions and situations throughout our entire lives. Be kind and care for those who need you. Take care of those who do not. Be a good person who always wants to make people smile rather than make them cry. The germ theory of disease, wash your hands. Countless lives have been saved. Sunscreen, toothpaste, you have to take care of your teeth. Antiperspirant, at least regular bathing practices. Almost all vaccines. Altruism. It is a profound resolution for me. It is to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. The golden rule. I think all mammals, including dogs, cats, and humans, have this built into our DNA. Evolution proves that those who are good and kind tend to pass on their genes. People who are mean often face consequences such as getting punched or worse for their actions. Always make things better if you can, but do not tolerate stupidity. Call a spade when you see it, but give to those who need it and are willing to receive it. Story 55. The plow made growing crops easier, which led to feeding many people and storing crops for future use. Story 56. Writing is the ability to record ideas and events so that people you will never meet, born generations later, can learn from you. Story 57. Having tried to light a fire with a flint, a fire steel, and various other fire lighting inventions, matches have to be in the top 10. Carrying fire around with you before the invention of easy fire lighting methods must have been a nightmare. Story 58. Penicillin and antibiotics in general. People were much more likely to die from simple infections before their discovery. Story 59. The book How We Got to Now by Stephen Johnson is about 6 innovations that changed the modern world. It is a great read. Story 60. Vaccines. Without vaccines and public health measures, our life expectancy would be a fraction of the current time. Story 61. Sewers helped clean up society and eliminate many diseases. This led to many other inventions. I learned this from Bill Nye. Story 62. Hot running water. I stand in my nice, steamy shower and realize I never would have survived in previous times. Story 63. Anesthesia. Many life-saving procedures are only possible due to operations made possible by anesthesia. Story 64. The microchip. But obviously, there are a few others that could also be considered. On a side note, leading on from the microchip, smartphones are utterly ridiculous. Of all the things in this world that one could take back in time to impress somebody, the phone I am typing this on would be the most likely to blow their mind. And you would not even have to travel back that far. Yes, I know it would not have anything to connect to, but you see my point. Here is this device that gives me access to the whole of human knowledge. I can watch movies in high resolution, take pictures and home videos with amazing quality, communicate instantly with anybody in the world, point it at something and it will tell me what it is, hear a bird in the distance and tell me what it is, talk to an artificial intelligence that can create written and visual media of frighteningly good quality at my command in a matter of seconds, shop for anything I could possibly need, and have it delivered to my door after showing me what it will look like in my own house if needed, tell me where the airplane that is a dot above me is going and where it came from, show me which stars are which by holding it up to the night sky, play thousands of games against other people, give me a map of the entire world and show me how to get anywhere, let me pay for things with a tap, control appliances while I am away from home, see what is going on inside and outside of my home in real time, give me the time, temperature, weather, news, reminders, alarms, and serve as a flashlight. And it fits in my pocket. Think about that for a second. You would only have to go back in time 25 to 30 years to be accused of witchcraft or laughed at. Story 65. Fire. Specifically, being able to make fire without resorting to lightning strikes. Without fire, we would not even be our current species. Story 66. Plumbing is essential for maintaining sanitation. Without it, infections would become the leading cause of death. Modern medicine would not exist without plumbing, as industries rely on running water. The mass production of pharmaceuticals would also be impossible without it. Story 67. Vaccines have significantly reduced childhood mortality, which used to be over 25%. Now, it is very rare for children to die from disease. Story 68. Money led directly to the invention of writing. The first examples of writing were accounting records. It enabled mass coordination of economic activity beyond immediate trust relationships, leading to skilled labor specialization and further technological advancement. Without money, humanity would be a collection of scattered, illiterate tribes. Story 69. Other than the standards like electricity, plumbing, medications, and vaccines, and airplanes, I want to say it is the bidet. Story 70. Agriculture leads to surplus food, which enables trade. Trade results in currency, facilitating finance such as loans. Finance supports stock trading, driving innovation and exploration, leading to every modern invention. Story 71. Honed steel such as knives, axes, swords, lawnmowers, cooling fans, and smoothie blenders. The wheel is useful, but I prefer sharp metal tools any day. Story 72. The thermos bottle. In the winter, it keeps your hot beverage hot. In the summer, it keeps your cold beverage cold. No one can explain how it knows which to do. It is a mystery. Story 73. The first ships to sail the seas. I think humans learned how to sail before using any animals to help with transport. They probably jumped on a log in a flooded river, ended up miles away in the sea, and somehow got back. Story 74. Does fire count? It is kind of the granddaddy of all other inventions. A more deliberate and modern revolutionary invention is steel. It changed the world and ushered in the modern age. Story 75. Fertilizer gave life to literally billions. Story 76. The stirrup allowed mounted hunters and warriors to be more accurate and effective, and to ride for longer periods of time. Story 77. I do not know if I would say it is the best, but the Haber-Bosch process is responsible for the existence of about half of the humans alive. Story 78. Maybe not greatest, but selective breeding of plants like wheat provided an explosion of food availability across the world and a significant reduction of food insecurity. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.